Hello people, welcome back to this channel. In this video we are going to learn how we can identify a shorted component on the motherboard. As you can see, we have a motherboard for HP cans. We are going to learn how do we know our motherboard is shorted, and how do we know what is causing that short, and how do we remove that short on the motherboard. First of all, we are going to learn if our component is shorted. And first of all, you have to make sure you have a multimeter. This is my multimeter. This is called the Victor BH1B. This is a very good multimeter. I chose to use this one because it have a very good refresh rate. So to measure a shorted component, we need to make sure our multimeter is stand in a continuity mode. So when you say continuity mode, it is a mode is like a beeping mode. It's a mode which is designed to measure a shorted component. So I turn my multimeter in continuity mode. After turning a multimeter in continuity mode, you have to make sure these two cables are beeping. When you connect them are beeping. Actually, for me, it's not beeping. So when it is not beeping, you first need to make sure you select the mode. So once you select the mode, the multimeter will continue to beep. As you can see, the multimeter is beeping. After that, we go on our motherboard. We are going to measure by starting from capacitor, because the capacitor can get shorted, or MOSFET could be shorted, coil could be shorted. Yeah, everything can be shorted on this motherboard. We start from capacitor. How do we measure a short capacitor? You can place this cable on ground. Any ground, USB can be ground. Yeah, this can be ground. Me, I decided to replace this one on this ground. We measure the capacitor. We start from this capacitor. As you can see, we have enough short here. This is a ground. We have enough short. Here we have enough short. But as you can see here, we have a short. You see, 3.1 volt, which is not very low, which is very low. Now we already identified the shorted component. Our capacitor is shorted. I don't know if you are looking here very well, but our capacitor is shorted. This capacitor is shorted. So after identify the short, also this power supply is shorted. This coil is also shorted. 0.8 volt, which is 0.8 ohms, which is very low, means you have a short. So after finding a short, we are going to you have to ask yourself, is this coil the one which is shorted, or there's something else which is on motherboard is getting shorted? Maybe it is this coil which is shorted, maybe it is this capacitor, this one, or something else on this motherboard. So after finding short, the second step is to ask yourself, what do we do to know the component which is causing the short? Actually, we have a different method to use to identify that shorted component. First of all, we can use a power supply to identify that short. Me, I'm using this kind of power supply, this one. This is my power supply. I don't know if you are looking here. It's a very nice power supply. User for one. Then technician must have this kind of power supply. You can use other different model, but power supply is very important in this field, in technical field. I'm going to use this power supply for identifying the component which is causing short. How do we use that power supply? First of all, we need and as I told you, we already found a short on our motherboard. So the next step is to know what is causing that short, because if you measure short here, you're not sure if this coil is the one which is causing a short. Maybe there's something else on the motherboard. So that's why I brought different stuff, different electron devices like a thermal camera, power supply, and computer. So what it does of this thermal camera? This thermal camera is useful for detecting the heat party. I have a software on this laptop which is connected this thermal camera to the computer by using a cable. This is my cable, Type C to USB cable, original one. And the next one is power supply. I need to set this power supply for the required voltage and current. This is button it is for current, and this button is for low voltage. So how do you set this power supply? You click. As you can see, we are going to set. We have 0.0 current. Here I need to set 4 amp is good for me. For the current, for the voltage, we need to place, and second place until we reach to the number where we need to set. For me, I need to set 1 volt and 1 volt and 1.4 volt, which is good for me. And this is a cable. This cable we have plus and the ground. One for current, this one for current, and this one for voltage. This minus for current, and plus for voltage. And what we need to do, we need to replace the ground cable anywhere. You can use USB, you can use any ground. Me, I replace this one here, and this one for I will inject voltage to the component which is showing us a short. After that, we need to connect this cable to our thermal camera. By here we have a port here. As you can see, we have port where to connect our cable, and this one will be plugged in a computer for USB. After plugging, as you can see, we are having a flashlight on the thermal camera. The software here, I already installed software which is here. What is software? This one, TB03S. Open our software. The software is now already opened. You see? I don't know if you are looking there. Once you open the software, it will be looking like that. We can change the color. We can make it black. But for me, I'm using yellow. Yellow color is good for me. After that, we are going to inject voltage to the shorted component. This is our ground. Replace anywhere. And this is our plus. So we found this capacitor is the one which is shorted. Injecting the voltage to the component which have been showing the short. Here. I think this is the ground. Another end. And this is not ground. You see? Anything which is taking 1.0 amps is shorted. We take our thermal camera and move around the motherboard by checking which one is shorted, which one is getting hot. And as you can see, there's something which is getting hot. Which one? Something is getting hot on this motherboard. Which one? You see? We have a shorted. It's a CPU. CPU is the one which is shorted. You see? I don't know if you are looking there. The CPU is the one which is getting shorted. You see? Our CPU is shorted. When you move around, there is no other thing which is getting shorted. Apart from CPU, there is no other thing which is getting hot. Only CPU. And even you see, our CPU is shorted. Also, I may use this coil. When I use also coil, because the coil, remember the coil is also shorted. When I use also coil, same result. The CPU is getting hot. The CPU is getting hot. So means our motherboard is shorted because of CPU. The CPU is the one which is shorted. So this is the first way to detect the shorted component. So the next way is using our hand. How do we use it? How do we use our hand to detect a short? Let me show you. This way doesn't require thermal camera or computer. Just only power supply is enough to know a shorted component. But it is very risky because it requires more voltage so that you can identify that shorted component, because we use our hand to sense the heat party. Our power supply. Now I will set our power supply to amp is for example to 2.2. Is good. Yeah. So how do we do this? As I told you, it's a ground cable. You replace it anywhere and take this one, replace to inject the voltage to the component which is have been short the short, and you can use your hand to feel the hot party. You can use our hand to touch on the motherboard and see if you can feel any hot party. But as you can, when I touch on the CPU, I can feel some hot. I can feel some hot on the CPU. No other part which is getting hot and except CPU. Meaning this is the second way we can use to detect a shorted component on the motherboard. The first one is to use a power supply in the laptop and the thermal camera. Second way is to use your finger to feel the hot part. But now I can feel the hot on the CPU. Yeah, this is the way you can use to detect a shorted component. So for this motherboard, if it is about for repair, I can't repair this mother because a shorted CPU is a long process, is a long story because I can't replace the CPU. Yeah, I can replace CPU, but I'm not sure if I can find a good CPU to replace this one. If I found the CPU shorted, I can advise a customer to buy another motherboard. That's all I can do. Yeah, I can go ahead to repair a CPU, no, just to advise customer to buy another motherboard. So this video was talking about how we can identify a shorted motherboard and how we can identify the component which is causing a short on the motherboard. And we found different two ways. First way is to use thermal camera, power supply, and any display, computer or phones. Me, I decided to use the phones. I decided to use the computer, and we replace negative cable of the power supply to the ground, and the plus cable of the power supply to the injecting the voltage to the shorted component. Second way is to do the same and use our hand to feel the heat party. So hopefully this video is helpful for you. You can subscribe to this channel for more tips and share to your friends, just like that. Thank you for watching. See you to the next video. Bye.